Thank you. So my old computer didn't want to talk to the beamer, so we have another one, luckily. Well, YouTube channel. If you're interested in the backstory of the current mail API, the Vienna session contains some research on the origin of hook mail, for example. In this presentation, I'd like to summarize what happened since Vienna and where I hope the journey will be going. So, Symfony Mailer is a library maintained in the Symfony source tree since Symfony 4.4. It provides Drupal contrib modules integrate with the Symfony Mailer component on various levels. Drupal 10.2 was the first release, shipping with the Symfony Mailer component as a core dependency. So that release also includes an experimental mail plugin based on Symfony Mailer. This plugin is capable of sending messages over any of the transports included with Symfony Mailer. The Drupal 10.2 Symfony Mailer plugin doesn't expose any administrative UI, but sites may opt in by shipping an appropriate config snippet via settings PHP. The experimental Symfony Mailer-based plugin is designed to work as a drop-in replacement of the existing core PHP mail plugin. As a result, it also suffers from the same limitations. Especially, the Symfony Mail plugin doesn't support building and sending HTML mails. So something happened, but I think we're good. The Symfony Mailer component supports pluggable third-party transports. Also, events are fired before and after messages are sent. These features were initially left out as well in order to avoid interference with the upcoming new mail API. So, in order to support those features, there's a proposal to replace the old mail API with a Symfony Mailer component. The current plan is to introduce an experimental mailer module as a first step. This will ensure that developers need to explicitly opt in order to use the new API, and that the risk of conflicts with existing core and contrib mail API is kept at a minimum. Issue number 33797994 is seeking to add the mailer module, pluggable transports, and message events. Don't be fooled by the extensive issue summary. The patch isn't that gigantic. The scope of issue 33, 79, 79, is to add the necessary services to the dependency injection container in a new experimental mail module. As a result, people may start to opt in to the mail delivery part of the Symfony mailer component. The mail building part, especially HTML mails, are not in scope in this iteration. Events are fired before and after a message is delivered. Custom mail transports can be used to adapt mail delivery for advanced projects requirements or more exotic setups. The current merge request seamlessly integrates with the Symfony Messenger in order to delegate mail delivery to a background process. I recommend to read the 8-part series about Symfony Messenger integration by Previous Next for an in-depth discussion of that. The issue links to a sandbox with example modules demonstrating how the proposed API is to be used. On the following slides, I'll show some excerpts from tests and from the example modules in order to illustrate better what could happen. So there is the Symfony email class. It is a value object. It has a similar scope and responsibility as the response class in the HTTP Foundation component. You can set headers and content parts and attachments, finally serialize it and send it to a mail server or some cloud messaging service. The email class could be extended if needed. However, I think that it is wise to ensure that it doesn't depend too much on injected services. Email objects should be easily serializable into various formats. This could become important in combination with Symfony Messenger, where email objects might be temporarily queued in external systems. In order to send a message, it is necessary to fetch a mailer instance from the dependency injection container. No additional configuration is necessary, just pass the message to the send method and the heavy lifting is done by the mailer component. Note that the send method passes a message further to the messenger if installed. Otherwise, the message is sent directly using the configured transport. Before an email is sent, the transport implementation fires a message event. Subscribers may modify the message and its headers or suppress delivery. After the transport delivered a message successfully, the send message event is fired through the send message class, which is a bit different than the email class. Listeners may obtain additional data about the delivery, for example, the message ID or some debug information. Message ID refers to the SMTP message ID here. If the transport wasn't able to deliver a message, the failed message event is fired. That's a good point of exception for logging. And additional transports can be added using appropriate service definitions. The important bit here is that the mailer transport factory service tag. Also note that this example is exhaustive. Besides requiring the proper composer dependencies, no additional glue code is needed to integrate third-party transports. In the comments of issue 33, 79, 79, concerns were raised that relying on exactly one transport service would be too limiting for more advanced use cases. However, Symfony Mailer ships with a transport implementation which is capable of routing email to multiple transport instances. In order to judge the viability of that approach, I've put together a simple module which shows how a multi-transport scenario could be implemented. That module is part of the example sandbox as well. The Symfony mailer component additionally ships transport implementations for high availability and load balancing scenarios. Although, from the point of view of a system engineer, I'd rather suggest to solve those recurrence in the infrastructure level, not in the client application. So, what will be the next steps after the issue gets committed? I suggest to continue with a simple integration for test suites. The idea of issue 3379.420 is to introduce a test-only utility module which injects a mail transport capturing all mails in the state table. Developers will then have the option to assert against mail headers and content in automated tests. Another crucial step will be integration with the Drupal theming layer. Applying your brand to mails sent from your website shouldn't be more complicated than installing the correct theme, in my opinion. And honestly, we actually need more people on issue 3379.79.4. This is the start of a new API. In my opinion, it is crucial that we specify and cover common use cases well with a simple API. So please join this effort and chip in with your comments and reviews. And with that, I'd like to lead over into the discussion part now. So, do you have like questions or comments or additional notes on the stuff I've presented now? Yeah. I'm not a good thrower, I hope.
Thanks, you did great. I'm wondering why the HTML mail or theming layer in general will not be initially included in the new mod.
Oh yeah, I have a microphone, so forget about it. Well, it's just scope. It's easier to review smaller scope things. We had lots of discussions on that issue already, like the delivery part. I'd rather try to minimize the scope of the steps we take. It's in my opinion, it's easier to review patches which aren't that big.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
I was wondering what kind of thoughts have been given to upgrade paths. So we need to upgrade from what was the other, Swift mailer to Symfony mailer, which was kind of a drag, and this doesn't look like out of the box it's going to be compatible with the Millhook system. So
No.
So what are the ideas there?
Very good question. There has been a discussion about that in Vienna. So what we thought what could work is to just like introduce in parallel a new system, like this experimental mail module. And then, I mean, the hook mail part is trivial because either you use hook mail in order to send mail, or you use the new system. The problem is that hook mail alter, because hook mail alter has like the whole power over the message, and if half of your mails are sent via hook mail, and hook mail alter, and the other half are sent via the new system and the events, then probably your alters won't work on either or the other. So the idea now is to introduce that in parallel, and then work with Contrib that implementers of hook mail alter could add the message event subscriber, mirroring exactly the same things or the same logic they implemented in hook mail alter, and then at some point switch core over to the new system and deprecate hook mail and hook mail alter. So that was like the idea how we could do that. The other thing we discussed is to like try to have a compatibility compatibility layer between hook mail outer and the message event. But since in the hook mail outer world, mails are just arrays with an unspecified amount of data in them. So you can actually put anything into it then and expect that it gets passed to the outer hook and act on that data. So we hope to avoid a compatibility layer with that plan. Yeah, but nobody knows whether this will work out or not.
Yeah, so for actually the getting rid part is probably going to be Drupal 12-ish.
That's
yeah.
Okay. That's a question whether we get it done. We get it done. We get enough people behind.
Yeah, sure,
some
but before stuff gets removed, that's probably going to be.
Yeah, I don't think stuff gets removed anytime soon.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Thanks.
There's been a question. Or if there's no questions, I have questions for you. Like, how do you solve mail in current projects?
Yeah, so Symfony mailer now, which does the job and does have that sort of backwards compatibility layer, so they can take both new and old style mails. So it allows us to do the new stuff with the new layer, and not worry too much about the old hook mails. They'll keep on working. So yeah, especially because Swift Mailer was sort of forced. Now that's the choice we made.
How about other people?
Yeah, also switched from Swift Mailer to Symfony Mailer, the contrib module, and set the compatibility level to an amount that worked. But yeah, because Swift Mailer was basically stopped, we had to get on board with a version of Symfony Mailer. But it's great that it might get into core as functional as although I guess the HTML mailing part needs to be ready before people can really use it.
Definitely, yes. Or other questions, what aspects do you like about mail in Drupal? So what are the things you like about it? What are the things we shouldn't break? Yeah. Can you use the queue?
So I think most of us use a contrib module at the moment. So I don't think there are many people using the core options now as it is, because 99% needs HTML mails, which is supported in core. So I think most people in the audience will use Symfony Mail or the light version. But do you know the difference between the light version and the Symfony Mail version? Because has been a confusion in our company. Because there is like a new module since I think January or something like that, Symfony Mail Lite. What's the difference between the Symfony Mail module and this?
Oh, I'm not the right person to ask for that because I'm not involved in any of those projects.
Someone knows?
Does anybody like to answer that question?
Nobody knows.
Well, I can try. What I heard is that Symfony Mailer Lite is like a more direct port of the Swift Mailer contrib module. So Symfony Mailer Lite is like Swift Mailer in the old days with the same like feel and same feature set. That's what I heard.
Okay. So both are usable. It's just there's no.
Oh, I guess both. Yeah, and anything is usable if it fits your requirements. Yeah.
So why would you like choose like Symfony Mailer at the moment and not the light version? What are the added functionality?
Like I said, I cannot really talk about those contrib modules
Okay,
because
I thought
I'm
you-
not involved in any of them.
Oh, you're only involved in the core part.
Yes.
Ah, okay.
I have another question. Well, as part of emailing, it would be nice to retry emails that are failed. Now, in Symfony projects, I would use Symfony Messenger for that. That is also something that you could add to Drupal, or there are projects working on that. But is that something that sounds like a big solution with lots of options and complex use cases? But would retrying be something you could just add to Symfony Mailer without another component? Basically, you just say if it fails, I don't know, queue it and try again. Is that something that you are looking at, or is that?
No, actually, for the scope of that things I've talked about now, it's out of scope. So my goal is to put the infrastructure in place. It's not much code. It's just gluing together the code of other people. That's my job in this issue. And I think queuing should be. I mean, there's lots of technical aspects about queuing. So you can do it in like in the database, just use a cron job to empty the queue and stuff like that, or you can offload it to a third system, any Redis or something like that, and then have a working thread which is using or which is pulling jobs from that. So I don't see mail queuing and mail retrying in core at the moment right now. It's like the HTML part, for example, has like a lot higher priority for me personally.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, I would say HTML email is a first. But I would guess that Drupal started out with no good mailing solution in core, and now we're moving towards, hey, if you install Drupal, you can also send emails, and we'll make sure that it works, and that works nicely. And part of that is you can send HTML mails because people want to send HTML mails these days. And another part could be, another argument is, you want to be able to send them with retries because you want to make sure that the email is sent, even if one delivery fails. But I guess that at what point you stop adding features to a core email system is up for debate.
Yeah, I think that the most important aspect of this discussion is that we actually have a perspective of that. So that I mean the patch or the merge request right now has support for Symfony Messenger. So a contrib module just can like require Symfony Messenger and put in place all those services which are needed, and the core mailer module will start to work automatically with that infrastructure. That's like my vision of how core should work. So core should like place the most important parts in the right places, such that contrib can hook into those mechanisms and improve on some aspects which are used in one project but not in the other one.
Can I do one more? Because I was thinking, so one of the things we have with Symfony Mailer is that we need to implement a mail log just from a developer perspective. Is that something you're looking at facilitating as well, or is it the first try just going to be, use mail log and, do your own thing? Because the mail log for Symfony Mailer isn't that mature yet. So I was wondering if that was in scope or in view at the very least.
Well, actually, the merge request supports message events. So every message which is delivered will trigger an event, and anybody can hook into that event and observe those messages which went out. So just a question, is the mail log, is that a contrib module?
Yes.
Okay, then the contrib module mail log would just add a message subscriber for the message for the sent message event and for the failed message event, and then do its thing in order to record successful and failed message deliveries.
And from that event, can you also kill the sending of the email?
Yes, from the message event, there's a possibility, like I don't have the API in my head, but there's a possibility to, or from a message subscriber, there's a possibility to communicate via the message event that you don't want to send that message out. So anything you want to say to me or to other people, or questions, or well, maybe so the further plan is to get oh, I have like this thingy here. The further plan is to get issue 33, 79, 79.4. I know it by heart now. To get that in order to have success with that, it's important to have more reviewers on the merge request. I'll be around today and tomorrow if you want to discuss anything about Symfony Mailer or core stuff, or if you have other suggestions which we should look at, then yeah, just talk to me. Okay, cool. Thanks. Yep.
Thanks.
Just want to do those first ones. Say what you said.
Hey, the discussion is the most important part. I mean, the rest I have slides and I can put it somewhere. So
Okay.
no
You
worries.
send me the slides now. Add them to the
Yeah. Okay.
later.
Well, actually, slides are on the computer here.
You already gave them. Yeah. The beginning, the power fell away during the entire session. It went quick, so we have the entire discussion. Bunch of the slides of I think I missed two.
I mean, the beginning is just. Yeah.
You had another talk today?
No.
My colleague said, yeah, this one will probably ask you to do it without the camera.
Ah, yeah. No, I just talked to your colleague because you
Okay.
weren't there in the
Oh,
break.